If you've been around this channel at all, you're probably aware that I've, I'm no stranger to living by myself in terrible health. I spent better part of my young adult life suffering through major depressive disorder, and then I spent a year essentially coming back from antidepressant withdrawal symptoms because I thought my health was fine and I was happy, and that was a major mistake because it just worsened things. And now that my health is great again, I find new ways to hurt myself and spend a lot of time alone in my room. It's quite comedic, really, if you think about it. How this young, relatively quite fit and good looking young man, he's falling in the traps of modern modernity for, for men our age. That's uncommon for the older generation, but not too uncommon for our generation. I'll explain. That in my parents' generation, a person like me would be relatively suitable to living a active life. That he'd learn to drive, and that he would go to social groups, and he would participate as a member. You see, I can only go by what I've heard stories of listening to the older generation. You know, my parents' generation and the my parents' parents' generation. And people talk about it with rose colored glasses a lot of the times when it comes to their personal life. Societal life, that's a that's a different story. There was a lot of societal upheavals, but that's not the focus on this topic right now. I hear stories that people are more open to mingling with strangers before stranger danger really hit the media and the cultural uh, vernacular. That perhaps we were born in the wrong generation. Perhaps new technology is corrupting the youth. And I'm not the only one that thinks this way. I'm going off the rails. The focus on this is not that. It's funny that I keep spending all my time alone in my room, even though I know perfectly well for like a year and a half now that the more I spend outside this apartment, outside my home, the happier I am. It's funny that there's these barriers that bring me back to this place that I spent years in being depressed. What's even more funny now, I'm not depressed doing this anymore. I'm not depressed being at home. alone, masturbating, watching YouTube for hours upon hours every single day, I've accepted my role in this life. I've accepted the circumstances that the great Logos, as Marcus Aurelius has proclaimed, the great logic of the universe, has destined for my life to unfold this way. I've embraced who I am. I've embraced where this life has directed me. I've embraced being inside my body, focusing on my hands, focusing on my senses. I will admit, I'm not as intelligent as my former days. So I think right now. But I'm definitely wiser than my younger version. I've traded intelligence for wisdom. And I'm okay with that. So this is a message for all those people who are deeply alone and feel like they have no purpose. This is a message for you. That there doesn't need to be a purpose to things. If you look at it from a big scale, from just the grand scale of the universe to how small our individual lives is, there is no purpose to any of this deep down. But we create our own purpose. It is not something that's always given to us. Really focus on reading. Really do. Reading self-help books. I will give you my examples if you ever care to. And if that doesn't interest you, just try meditation. Just try mindfulness. People suggest this for a reason. So no, my advice isn't for any of that. My critical advice is open up your ears, eyes, and mind to advice and suggestions. Because if a lot of people are suggesting something to you, listen. Their advice isn't always useful, right? There is the advice of don't listen to everything people tell you. But if certain themes keep popping up that people suggest you do, listen. And consider it. And pretend that their advice is right. And that this is how you should be. Entertain it. Entertain the idea. There's really no harm in trying. The harm is there is none. You will learn from it. Learning is invaluable. Even if you realize that this advice is faulty and it doesn't work and it's actually detrimental, now you know. Now you know for certain that without a reasonable doubt that their advice is faulty. That's a powerful tool in your tool shed. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm listening to people. I'm listening to where the universe is directing me. I'm not fighting and screaming at this injustice situation that I'm in. Because I've been missing out a lot this summer due to my cast and due to my gut. But there's always a lesson to be learned from this. For example, my gut has given me the time to focus more on this YouTube channel. If I didn't have this gut condition, I would be still going to improv and Toastmasters. For improv, Toastmasters is a public speaking workshop. I would be going to dance lessons. I would be working, and yes, all that stuff is great. But maybe focusing on this YouTube channel is the right thing in the end. Maybe this will provide dividends later on in life. That right now it sucks. It really does. It sucks sitting in this lonely room, not really feeling like I want to socialize with anybody. Because a lot of the times I'm too weak, too fatigued, I'm in too much pain, or I've just grown a bit apathetic with just sitting all day. But there's a lesson here for me I need to go through. And when I had that cast on, that gave me time to deepen my relationship with the redhead. And even though that relationship did not work out, yeah, you saw that face. It provided lessons. It taught me what I really want in life. It got me to volunteer for the dance classes, for the improv classes, for the Toastmaster classes. It got me looking online for all these things. And without that cast, I would not have learned more about myself and what I wanted, and I would not have pursued it if I didn't have all that time for self-reflection. Maybe I would, but with trying to maintain that relationship while working, those things would have occupied my mind and my time. And I wouldn't be too interested in anything else. So yes, I think it's pretty funny that I keep spending all this time alone in my room. In the past, it was pure escapism and hopelessness. It was just pure suffering and trying to feel pleasure. This is different now. It's all about perspective, about mindset, mind over matter. I'm not the man I wish I could be. The critique in my head says I need to develop more skills, such as cooking and playing the guitar, and being a more entertaining person, and knowing to drive, and doing more things, and having more skills, and being a more interesting person. That's the critique. That's all he is. I'm not that man, because that is impossible standards. Even though I see many people that match that description, I'm perfectly me. Clueless on what to do with my life. A person that hits these roadblocks and crumbles and spends all this time alone in his room with too much time for self-reflection. This is me. The unfiltered Liam. Also known as Meaningless. Also known as Docboy. Also known as Lily. Also known as Cilantro. Those are all my main nicknames. This is me. This is as raw as you can get. And that's perfect. I love who I am. I absolutely love this guy with a lot of interesting things to say and has pretty unique perspectives on life, that likes to critique common concepts that we take for granted, such as the saying that treat everybody you want to be treated. Everybody wants to be treated differently, so that's terrible advice. So don't listen to that. Listen to me. I know what the right advice is. So tune in more to the Docboy channel for how to think. Because I want more people to think like me. Because if more people think like me, the world would be more monogamous. I want everybody to be the same. The perfect human being. The Aryan race. If you thought I was serious, it's called a joke. I'm not a freaking Nazi, you Nazi. Oh, I just used the N-word. Another thing that this time with this whole gut condition has given me a lot of appreciation for my channel. Like, two invaluable members, Goldmine and Jakey T, absolutely making this channel. Those two contributors, I might have not really been like solidified more of a online friendship with these individuals if I didn't have this gut condition, if I didn't spend more time making Isaac content and vlog content. In the end, the point I want to make is everything is a lesson. There is no such thing as a wasted time. That even the times that you're waiting learn to be more present. Learn to be more patient. Maybe learn to socialize with people around you, or be observant. There is no wasted time. You're just choosing to think it's wasted time. You're choosing to be miserable. Choose to always try to reverse things on its head. If something seems negative and bad, think about how it could be good. Of course, you can make the counter argument with an extreme example. Go ahead, do that. You have a fair point. Life is a lot more nuanced than a straightforward advice. There's always a time and place for everything. It's up to you to decide. Until next time, you'll see me in the next video. Bye-bye.